up, y'all? And what better way to do my review than on location while I'm in school? So welcome back to AAB TV. Let's just get into the video. Alright, y'all, so this is season 2 episode 19, and this is called Festival. So in the opener, we see the teachers in the lounge, and they are upset, which they had every right to be, because they got this letter that Abbott was going to become a charter school, and they're going around just talking about how they're unhappy with the decision. And Barb is questioning, like, if this happens, like, or because it's happening, we're gonna get fired, what students are gonna get kicked out, and all these other things. And then Janine just got it in herself to, want to fix the situation as usual. And she's like, this is not going to happen on our watch. We're going to make sure that Abbott Elementary stays Abbott Elementary, which we all know all of the teachers won't. And we see Jacob, he is over it. He's on edge this entire episode because he is stressed out to the max. And so Operation Save the School begins. Janine decides that she wants to have a petition that they need about 500 signatures from the community, from the parents of the school, so that they can give it to the board and they can see that this is a decision that nobody wants to be done. So she brings in the teachers with her and decides to get everything in order. So as she's getting the teachers in order, Ava is leaving the school, and she says that she has a plan of her own, which is top secret, and she really can't tell nobody about it. But at the end of the day, all the teachers are involved, and we are happy to see that everybody is on the same page, and they are ready to, save Abbott. Again, Jacob is on edge. He's yelling out. He's freaking out. He's also just like wanting to figure out who all of these African-American artists or entertainers that everybody keeps mentioning in some of the conversation. And it's so funny how he tries to be low with it, but then realizes like everybody is paying attention to him. And he's just like, what? Like, what? All right, so after school, everybody is out canvassing. They're trying to get all the teachers at the end of the day, carpool, walking by, coming up to the school, whatever, to sign. And y'all, to my surprise, one of my favorite comedians, one of my favorite all deaf digital creators, content creators, whatever, to hear more. Y'all probably seen him on Spectrum commercials with Kev on Stage, like all of them. Like, I love that entire crew. So I was so glad to see him on there, and he had a lot of parts in this episode. So him and I don't really know his character's name, but him and Janine had a conversation, and she's trying to get him to sign up, and he's throwing things around saying that he's not ready to sign anything. And by this time, y'all, everybody is pretty much consumed with trying to get signatures, but it's not working out. We see Greg out there trying to petition, and he comes into contact with Erica, which we all know is Janine's friend, and they have a conversation about basically all the tea that she knows about them, and he looks annoyed. We see Barb trying to do something, Melissa trying to get it done. Jacob figures that none of the parents like him, so he decided that he's not going out there canvassing. Again, Janine's out there doing hard work, and at the end of the day, it's not working out. And Greg and the rest of the teachers are like, look, we tried, we didn't get enough signatures, like nobody wants to stop and listen to us, like we have to come up with a plan B. So they leave Janine outside by herself, and up walks Ava, Principal Ava, all decked out in her suit. She done left from earlier, and Janine and her are talking and having a conversation, and she's basically told Janine, like, I have my plan B, because who knows, she's up to this assumption, like all the rest of the teachers are, that eventually somebody from Legendary is going to fire them. So Ava already is trying to get her job in the line, and y'all, she wants to go work as like some type of executive for Legendary in order to help their brand. She's all about that. And Janine's looking at her like, really? I thought you was going to go to another school. Matter of fact, I thought you was going to fight for Abbott to stay Abbott Elementary, and here you are already getting interviews with the people that's trying to take it away from us. So that was the little key right there. And so they decide, Ava and Janine, they decide to come up with the plan to get all the teachers together because, again, plan A is not working. They need to figure out something to do. So they get the meeting together with all of the teachers. They're throwing around ideas about how to get the parent involvement, the community involvement, and Ava basically just stole Janine's idea. So everybody is going around talking about this festival, and they're in the room and they're saying, well, I don't know how we're going to get people to show up because we don't have a lot of support from the parents or the community. And so now that everyone has given like their 2 cents on the thing, Ava decides to make it a huge spectacle, and she's talking about entertainment and having like a person to come and like just basically make it big, and she wants to call it Ava Fest. And they're like, it's not about you, which everybody knows Ava is going to make it about her. So she tried to come up with some type of like acronym basically for the festival, calling it a very Abbott festival, so that everyone could engage and everyone can get this petition signed. And what they wanted to do to get them to sign was basically come in and sign the paper. And because Barb finally stood up and said something also during the meeting, she decided that they should trick the people in the community and not let them know what they're signing, and then get the signatures that way. Then that's how the whole festival came up, and it got incorporated with, well, when they walk in, they sign the paper, then they can go. And so first Janine, she was just like, I don't want them to be tricked. I want them to know exactly what it is that we are doing, what it is that they are signing. And everybody was looking at her like, girl, be quiet, because it's not working the way that you think it's going to work. So we're going to trick them and do what needs to be done. So Ava Fest is in full effect, y'all. All the teachers are in their classrooms, and Ava's walking through telling each and every job that each teacher has to contribute to the festival. And again, Janine and Greg have a sidebar conversation because Janine feels like it's not going to work. Greg feels like it's not going to work. And so they come up with the idea to take to Ava about having a headliner. And at first, Janine wanted them to have Tariq come, her ex, who, he became a rapper, and then for Fade, then he worked for Legendary, actually. And then she was, it was a shock to Greg that she brought Tariq up, and he was like, no, let's not do that. He's out of pocket most of the time. He's out of line. I don't think that's a good idea. So then that's when they went to Ava, and Ava's just like, I already got that covered. Like, y'all late. And so she tells them she's gonna bring Jasmine Sullivan. She's got this whole big old poster set up in the gym, and they're like, "Oh my God, she's really coming! She's really coming!" And she's like, "I got my connections. Y'all know how I do." So then that means that everybody in the daggone community, all the parents, all the students, are gonna come because they're gonna want to see Philadelphia's own star, Jasmine Sullivan, and that's exactly what happened. And so, as the day goes on or whatever, the festival, again, like I said, is in full effect. We got people showing up, they're signing it, some people aren't, other people don't want to hear about it. And then at the same time, we have we see Janine in her very quirky, awkward way trying to throw in information about Legendary and acting like she's not even a teacher, which of course people recognized her. And she was like, yeah, you caught me or whatever. And again, they don't want to really hear it. So as the festival is going on, the teachers are realizing like, hey, where's Jasmine Sullivan? Like, people are calling their friends and family, telling them not to show up. They're ready to leave. Like, what's going on? So they take it to Ava. She's in her own little world playing a game, and she's like, oh, I tricked y'all. Like, she ain't really coming with what y'all thought this was. I got the people here. That was the whole point. So while they're looking at her like, are you serious? They're realizing like, okay, y'all, like, we got to do something. And so Then we switch to Greg, who is at the table with the the clipboard, and we see Miss Amber, which we haven't seen, his ex. And according to her, she got a new boo. She got her tail far back. And he's like, Greg is looking at her like, we just broke up 2 weeks ago. Like, what's really good? And she was like, well, I met him a week after, and he stepped when you didn't. And then he was just looking at her like, I can't believe you really moved on so quickly. Like I said, she wanted that tail far back. She wasn't worried about nobody's Lego set, right? And so, like I said, people aren't feeling the festival anymore. They're wanting to leave. Jasmine Sullivan's not coming. The teachers are, concerned about it. Ava's not worried about it at all. And so they all huddle around Ava and basically like, why did you lie to us? Like, what are we gonna do now? And then in the midst, and then to hear Moore's character is the parent who figured out the trick per se, and he's like, hey y'all, they lied. Jasmine Sullivan ain't coming. They just trying to trick us and get us in here so they can talk to us about whatever's going on and make us be concerned about Abbott Elementary and da 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 da. And so they all up in the uproar, and then all of a sudden, guess who comes out of the crowd? Tariq. And everybody, including Janine, is shocked to see him. Like, what are you doing here? Because at first, Greg, like I said, was like, no, I don't want him there. But he's the one that called Tariq, and he was the plan C, basically, because they done did plan A, plan B, now plan C. So Tariq, of course, he's very outgoing. He knows a lot of people. He grew up there with Janine. He can draw a crowd, as Janine was explaining to Greg at the beginning of the episode. And Greg probably was like, you know what? You're right. He probably also knew that Jasmine Sullivan was not going to come because Ava is just all talk sometimes. And so he gets up on the stage and starts singing the song that he done made up about Abbott Elementary. And it was like, I can't think of the tune. It was like, Abbott, go Abbott, something like that. Her booty's big, wanna grab it. So everybody's like vibing to the music. All the teachers is dancing, the parents, everybody that's there, they dancing. And while he's performing, we see somebody walking on the stage, and then we see Barbara and Melissa, and their faces turn up like, what is he doing here? And lo and behold, here comes Mr. Legendary himself, Draymond. And we all saw him a few episodes ago. And he's recording the crowd, and he's vibing with the crowd, and then all of a sudden the music stops, and Tariq is like, yo, who is this interrupting my set? Like, what's up? And so he makes this big old speech about about how he's glad everybody showed up, and then he starts belittling Abbott. I mean, literally like talking down on everything. That the test scores are bad. The school is raggedy. It's ran down, and all the teachers that got them there basically lied to them because they want to try to save themselves and save Abbott when they're trying to make Abbott look better, and they're gonna have all new everything, just like Addington Charter School. And everybody's looking at him like, bro, what? Like, what are you talking about? Then people from the crowd start hitting him with facts, and they're like, well, you kicked my son out, didn't you? And he's like, no, we like to let kids, have an open mind about where they want to go. Then somebody's like, y'all want to put money into making this a charter school where y'all could just give Abbott the money and make it better, since you want to do better so much, or since you care so much. And then so basically, as he's trying to like give all this negative stuff and throw all this negative stuff into the air about Abbott, the parents in the community is like coming for him. And like Melissa said, they knew he was a phony from the jump, and even though they may not have supported the school, they can definitely find a phony in the middle of a crowd, which they knew was Draymond. And so a little boy throws a joke, and everybody start laughing, and they just tell him, get off the stage. Mr. Johnson comes through like he was on Apollo with the broom trying to sweep him off the stage. And that whole time he was talking, I was like, you got some nerve, because even though he did mention that he went to Abbott as a kid, he still basically like downed the whole school. And I'm like, how is this going to get you any type of support? And then on top of that, you're not being honest about you're not being honest about the things that y'all doing. And so at the end of the day, like I said, he got what he deserved. Like, wasn't nobody trying to hear all of that. Like I said, he ended up making himself look silly, and they was like, are you gonna fire teachers? Because if you fire teachers, then what's gonna happen to them? Like, where are they gonna work at? And then he's like, we're gonna give you the best of the best. And then one of them asked about, he mentioned something about if your child gets in, and then another person's like, if. So you mean to tell me there's a 50-50 chance my child won't even be in this school? Like, and then that's when the mother came about him kicking her son out that we saw a few episodes ago. And so it was good that, again, he got what he deserved because he was being a jerk. And so after all of that, everybody goes back to vibing because they understand, like, this is a waste of your time, sir. We're not listening to you. Abbott Elementary is going to stay Abbott Elementary regardless. And we see Barbara and off in the corner having a conversation with Melissa, and Melissa turns around and gives him the ugliest look, and I'm like, who is she looking at? Come to find out, Draymond's walking up. He wants to talk to Barb, and he's like, basically saying, like, I got outsmarted by the best once again. And then he was like, you know what? I really brought a big crowd here, right? I really brought the community together. And Barbara looked at him, and she was like, you know what? Bless your heart. I wish you the best. And then she goes off to her confessional, y'all. She's like, you can be the best you can be, pour into people, hoping that they be the best. But people, at the end of the day, choose who they want to be. And Draymond chose, or is choosing, to be a jackass. And I was like, oh my gosh, she most definitely gave it to him, because it was so true. I was like, how dare you won't come and act like you the reason why all of these people got hurt, as if the Abbott Elementary teachers then all band together and make this whole entire festival a thing. Like, this is not about you, sir. Like, go on somewhere. And even then, after all of that, we saw, like, everybody just getting along. The people from the community, the parents, the teachers, even Mr. Morton, the 8th grade science teacher, and Jacob, they were shaking hands and, hanging out during the festival. And I was just like, yeah, that's what it's all about. Again, banding together, working together, and doing what's best for the students, for the families, and for the teachers. So during the end of the episode, all of the teachers are, like, you know what, let's come back Monday and clean everything up. We did the most that we could. And they're talking about just basically how good it feels to have accomplished something, how Abbott's not gonna change, how it's gonna stay the same, how they all worked together and did a great job with everything. And they're very proud of how they came together. And as they're walking out, I think one of the scoreboard, it fell down, and we all know Janine wants to be the one to come and fix it when everybody else is like, no, let's just leave it how it is. And she runs back, and Barbara yells, don't even try to fix this one, Janine. And she's like, shh, and she leaves out. And I was like, yeah, she always tries to fix it. And again, even though sometimes it don't work out the way she wants to, it ends up working out the way that it's supposed to. And I really like that. I really am so glad that they all decided not to just give in and give up hope when everything was looking kind of bad at the beginning of the episode and they weren't getting the signatures they needed. And that at the end of the day, Abbott is going to survive and stay Abbott Elementary, which I knew deep down in my heart that was going to happen. And then we see Tariq at the very, very end. He's chilling in the dunking pool as if he's in some type of jacuzzi, talking about why he got fired from Legendary, why he got fired from Fade, and that he's basically just shopping beats, looking for people to work with. And then, of course, being the bum that he is, he needs a ride to New York to get his stuff to go back to Philly because he ain't got nowhere else to go. So I wonder if we're going to see more of him. And I wonder if we're going to see any more of Mr. Legendary himself, Draymond, because they really gave it to him. And like I said, he was so worried about what Abbott looked like and not thinking about how it made everybody feel. And if everybody was even really wanting to do all of that. And he even tried to say that because Abbott's not turning into charter, it took a lot off his plate. I'm like, y'all just doing the most. I just really was like, sir, you brought the community together? Yeah, okay. But once again, this was another great episode, y'all. Thank you all for watching. I will see you all next week. Have a great, great weekend. Peace.